香港虽然面积不大，文博场馆的密度却很高。截至2022年的11月为止，在香港已经获得利用的276.6平方公里的土地上，分布着约60所博物馆，相当于最多每走不到3公里就可以进入一间博物馆参观。繁多的博物馆构成了香港人丰富的精神生活，也让每一个去观看展览、表演的休息日都变得精彩万分。都说香港是国际文化大都会，作为港口城市，这里植根中国传统，又融汇着古今中外的多元文化。恰巧周末无事，我就从海滨一路闲逛，准备去香港海事博物馆看一看。这一次，我打算从海洋的文明源头一探香港的发展历史。今天海事博物馆为我请到了一位最熟悉博物馆的重磅级导赏员总监肖猷思教授。
Hi, Professor Yu. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Kay, and thank you so much for showing us around the Maritime Museum.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have you here, honestly.
So, from your point of view, what makes the HKMM special from the others?
But this place is quite peculiar because it's a private museum. It started out as a private museum. We say it's a prime example of public-private partnership. So we got some money from the government. We also got money from the corporate world in Hong Kong. And because of its location, because of the staff that we have, because of the great support that we receive from the Hong Kong community at large, and the shipping community in particular, this museum really stands out.
It is reported that you intend to lead the museum to break the ground. So what is the main direction?
The main direction of the Hong Kong Maritime Museum is first and foremost to enhance people's awareness, where it relates to history or art or science. And before too long, we have a fantastic opportunity to incorporate science in the history and art stories that we used to tell for quite some time. So before too long, we'll have 3 museums in one. So if you would like to have a little tour through the museum, I would love to take you through the museum.
Sure, so let's start our tour now.
Excellent.
Thanks.
We are now in the Deck C here at the Hong Kong Maritime Museum. And what we put on display in this particular section here is basically maritime history, not only of Hong Kong, but also of China from 2,000 years ago up to early 20th century. And then we have 2 other decks, B deck and A deck, to continue that story up to the present day. You know, for instance, this model here, this big model here, is from the Han dynasty, so about 2,000 years old. And it's a representation of a boat, a funeral boat. And there's singing and dancing and music on this boat as well. It's almost as if there's entertainment while accompanying the people to the afterlife or to the next life, if you like. So it's I think a fascinating place and space where this history is being told.
Wow, Professor, is it one of the representative one in this showroom?
Yes, we're very proud that we have this beautiful piece in our collection, and indeed it's one of the most representative elements in this whole section. This section deals with the China trade, and it's not the trade between Hong Kong and mainland China. The China trade is trade between China and the Western world, Europe. And look at this fantastic gouache on silk. Silk, a very fragile textile. This depiction here of Canton, in Guangzhou nowadays, Canton in the former days, and the Pearl River here, this whole depiction is 250 years old. So it helps us date the gouache here as well. And we know it's from around 70-72. And to me, this is such a beautiful representation of the international character of trade between the Greater Bay Area, Macau, Guangzhou, Hong Kong area as well, and the Western world, including the Netherlands, United Kingdom, Sweden, France, and Denmark. I think that's a beautiful description. The Greater Bay Area, as we know it, has for ages, for centuries, been not only the window for the West to the East, but also for the East to the West.
I saw that there's so many precious collection of painting in this showroom. So how do you collect them?
That's a very good question. we have various ways to increase our collections. It's by going to auction houses and spend money, raise your hand and spend money. As little as possible, but you never know what the competitors do. That's one. We also expand our collections by receiving donations. People who find something in their basement or their attic and will bring it to the museum, which is fantastic. But many of the elements that you see here, many of the paintings and the prints, and this, for instance, this fantastic scroll here was acquired and brought into the museum's collection. This scroll is about 16 or 18 meters long, and we can only show, what is it, maybe 6 or 7 meters. So in my dreams, I hope that we'll find space to really put it on display completely. So you can follow the story of those two, man and wife, Zhang Bo and Zhang Yizhao. And it's almost like a cartoon, like a story in various chapters of the fight between the pirates, a huge fleet, 20,000, 30,000 pirates fighting the Imperial Navy. And it's also the history of Hong Kong. And that's basically what we try to do here as much as we can. Gripping history of the area. And in that sense, I feel we as a Hong Kong Maritime Museum have a huge amount of interesting topics to bring to our audiences. And we'd love to see you and so many other people living close by come over to the museum many times.
结束了游览，我和肖教授来到了博物馆咖啡厅坐坐，喝杯热咖啡暖暖身，看着窗外的码头风景，不禁有一种恍如隔世的感觉。
Could you briefly introduce about the logo of this museum? Is it a logo of the museum?
It is. What you see here on our cappuccino is the logo of the Hong Kong Maritime Museum. And that's the logo that I'm wearing here on my jacket as well, you see. And it's basically a combination of the junk, of the Chinese junk, and the sails of the Chinese junk. And then when you look closely in darker blue, it's the bow of a modern ship. But of course, the bow in a modern ship is difficult to create in a coffee cup.
The Maritime Museum is going to open a new space. So could you briefly introduce about the new space for us?
I'm excited to share with you that before too long, the museum will open the Swire Marine Discovery Center. And that center consists of 3 fantastic spaces. These spaces are a theater with 100 retractable seats. So it's a multi-purpose space, basically. You can have your conference, and at the end of the day, you can take your group down to the various exhibitions that we have. The seats will be retracted. People come back and they will have a cocktail or a dinner overlooking Victoria Harbour. So we really can make the Hong Kong Maritime Museum a meeting place for lots of different communities. So we have this theatre with 100 retractable seats. We have an expansion of our gallery space, so we can install new exhibitions. And we have a learning centre, a Blue Ocean Learning Centre. And that's exciting as well. There will be microscopes, there will be some sort of a laboratory setting, if you'd like. We can build the Hong Kong Maritime Museum as a hub for marine science next to the history and art elements. I believe that we can play an important role, maybe even a leading role, but certainly an important role for other maritime museums in the world as well. We invent tradition. We'll make it a tradition from now on. Cheers. Sante. Salute.
Salute.
Salute, that's what the Italians say.
访谈中，肖教授提到，海事博物馆的 A 层与 B 层已经重新开放，常设展的内容也有所更新。A 层将以海洋科学技术为主题 ，B 层将会向观众讲述香港的港口故事。来到这里参观的观众一定会发现更多惊喜，了解更多与海洋有关的故事。走出博物馆，想看看周边还有什么值得去的小店。映入眼帘的就是这家博物馆商店，没有想到这间小店也这么好逛。刚刚在展厅里让我印象最深的帆船展品，在这里竟然找到了它的周边，赶紧买一件带回家，让我和博物馆的记忆久久地保存下来。日暮时分，望着8号码头上金波闪闪的海面，我也期待着与海事博物馆的下一次相遇。 在展厅当中感受着历史与文明激荡的广阔世界。对我而言，生活在拥有众多文博场馆的香港，每一次逛博物馆、看展览的经历都是不可多得的奇妙之旅，值得一次次的憧憬与期待。